stronger he actually... I've done calcs on Ike today because I knew this would come up. He can even... He tanks even some blue mages that can't double him. And he can actually kill some of them. He's amazing. He can run Fury and DC, and he's just great. And he can have boons. To have, like, how much? 38? Or was it 37 attack? Anyway, something high. And, and Grey is in the sea of infantry red sword. Like, you can't compare it like this. Like, a mounted blue Brave Lance is a lot more useful than one of those infantry. He can also be a bruiser with a Wadao, but he doesn't stand out.
The main problem from the dancers is they themselves aren't that great to use for combat and whatnot. Their special ability is just to give another unit another turn, but if you go that far, you can also ask yourself why not just run another unit instead, who maybe has the same strength.
So I've been talking on the sub about this for quite a bit with several members. So, like, if you're running a hyper carry nuke mage, dancers make absolute sense. That's like your best partner because that's what it gets you into safety. But if you have a more balanced team where you don't rely on one unit to carry your offensive load, you don't necessarily really need a dancer. You just use positional skills and AI manipulations to do whatever you want to do and still be safe, no problem.
And what I also think is a little bit understated is that dancers themselves are infantry. Meanwhile, with flyers, you're not limited in where you can reposition most of the time. So there are many actual situations where having a dancer gives you less flexibility and movement range than having a flyer with reposition or even cavalry. It's not like them themselves being infantry matters. It can hold you back.
And also, if you are using a more like broader like team setup with like something like, let's say, Ryoma, you can't just dance Ryoma and expect Ryoma just kill more things because he doesn't have the HP to do so because he took damage from previous fights. So you can't just run dancers and then just think it will work.
Well, that's why I say in a hyper carry nuke mage scenario you can, because the nuke mage should not take any damage. So there's like some niche scenarios where the dancers excel for sure, but they don't excel in every single team, right? That's what we're trying to say. Sure, they work well in nuke mage teams because that's where they're synergistic in, right? But like a dancer, for instance, in a team of like Hector, Effie, and Ryoma really doesn't add much value.
Yeah, I was going to say, since you guys are like, you guys have a lot of experience in building teams and stuff like that, how do you feel about the balance of the game right now, overall? Do you think Intelligent Systems has done a good job with it?
I don't think they should have released Cancel Affinity.
Yeah,
I think that was a
makes
mistake.
no sense.
That was a mistake.
I get the idea why they did that, and also the same idea why like slaying bows and slaying swords are a thing now, because like the killer weapons are just
I don't mind
they're
that.
not used anymore.
I don't mind the slaying weapons because the killer weapons were just completely outdated and no one ever used them. So
this was going to happen.
I think Cancer Affinity was again to counter like full TA teams, because at some point I would just like put like full TA on everybody and it would just work. And that would probably be the future metagame if they didn't release like Cancel Affinity.
Yeah, but like the thing about CA is that not a lot of the colored units are going to use it. Some people will, but like if you throw it on Bo Cordelia and it's just not fair. It's really not fair on her.
Yeah.
Raven TA was the only thing that could actually check her, and now that's gone too. It's like, oh, it's kind of unfair, man. But yeah, like there's a very small number of units that could actually take the hit from a properly built Bo Cordelia. But she's pretty unfair. I'm gonna just flat out say she's a pretty unfair unit, and then Cancel Affinity just made her even more unfair, in my opinion.
At least they made it not an option for Reinhardt.
Oh my goodness! Can you imagine the salt? If they let mages use the CA, oh my goodness.
Okay.
But I do like how Intelligent Systems had added infantry pulse, because like it's
Yeah.
actually they're trying to make an effort to actually make infantry units more relevant, and I kind of like that. They understand that infantry is just falling flat right now, and they added like Delthia with the buff and things like that. So it's like, yeah, they're making an effort, I think.
Sonya's
those
tone
changes.
with that. I
Yeah.
want to use
See,
that.
I think they made a mistake. They should have made flyers have a lower BST than infantry. I know they can't change it now, but they should have. They knew to do it to horses.
I think the BST is fine on flyers.
Not with that movement.
But I think they should have added another penalty, something else, like some other thing that would be like daggers would be effective.
That's not good
on it or
enough. That's still not good enough.
Technically, bows are effective against flyers,
Yeah.
but the problem is bows are also really strong against anything
Yeah.
else, so it doesn't really matter at that point.
The bows have always been historically very powerful in Fire Emblem games in general.
Thanks to anyone who's made it this far, listen to these guys ramble for however long I edit this to. Special thanks to my guests here, Check, Fox, Nymph, and Roman.
You're cutting off, we can't hear
Bruh,
you.
why does that happen?
Yeah, he cut out again.
Okay, I'll edit it. I got enough, I think. What is wrong with my mic? It was perfect.
Probably.
Check, was it like this when we recorded last time?
A bit.
I was cutting out. Why didn't you say anything? I could have got a mic.
You're just being nice. You're just.